When I was 8, I found a diorama box. You may have seen one before, or even made one for school or scouts or whatever. I had no clue what it was called at the time, just a long wooden box with a circular hole on each side and several small diamonds of frosted glass embedded across the top. I found it behind the abandoned Stonebrook Middle School, sitting like a gently placed present on a pile of broken pallets and old insulation. Even not knowing what it was, I could tell it was special. There was no way to open it, and its weight, its design, even the way the wood was carved, spoke of something out of the ordinary. And then I put my eye up to the box. Sunlight flowed and fractured from the opaque glass above, sending soft tendrils of luminescence curling up the walls and around the figures inside. I was seeing inside a house, probably the living room. The people were abstractions, just barely recognizable as people at all, and yet somehow I knew about them. That one was the mother, that one the daddy. There were a couple of kids, and on the arm of the couch, a gray lump that I thought was a cat. All of them seemed to be sitting together, watching a box that I figured was a television. I didn't get what the point of any of it was, but it was weird and fancy, so it felt like treasure to me. I took it home with some nervousness, afraid that my parents might think I stole it and take it away. When my dad noticed it that night, he asked where I'd found it. I knew enough to lie and say the woods instead of behind Stonebrook. Something bad had happened there when I was little, and even now I think most people avoid it. He considered me a moment and then picked it up, turning it over in his hands before putting his eye up to one of the holes. Huh, that's a weird thing, isn't it? Guess it's game night, huh? Ruffling my hair, he handed it back. Good find, sport. You'll be a pirate yet. I grinned with relief, but behind that was a growing sense of confusion. Game night? I waited until I was back in my bedroom, and then I turned on the bedside light and looked in the box again. It had changed. Instead of being in a living room, now they were gathered around what looked like a dining room table. Still a father and mother, and 2 kids. I could even see the cat sleeping on a sideboard against the far wall. And on the table, tiny but distinct, was a board game. I didn't tell anyone about the change, of course. They'd think I was pretending or lying at best. At worst, they'd believe me and take it away. Instead, I looked at it every day, sometimes for hours. I was smart enough to hide how obsessed I was with it, though sometimes it was hard. I didn't want to miss anything after all. The scenes were always in the same house, but it would move from room to room, and the number of people and pets would change over time too. But I definitely felt like it was always the same people and house overall. Most of the time, for all the magic of the changes, the scenes themselves were pretty mundane. Just a family living their lives, doing the things they do. Tiny statues, devoid of features that somehow managed to always tell me exactly what was going on and how they felt about it. I remember when the son got into a fight in school, when the daughter had her first ballet lesson, the times the husband and wife fought, and the times they all came together to celebrate or comfort one another. When I was 16, I saw a change coming over the father. He wasn't sleeping much at all, and when he did, it was sitting up in a chair, away from his wife. They seemed to be fighting more. Everyone spent less time together, and within a few months, I started to worry they might split up. The scenes didn't change every day, so I had to wait until the weekend to see the latest developments. The father was holding the mother, and the children were hugged in around them too. I actually cried a little when I saw that. Whatever he'd been going through, I guessed they'd gotten through it. Then 2 weeks later, he murdered them all. The night it happened, he was back on the sofa, a laptop in his lap. I could tell it was late at night, even with the light streaming in. The shadows thrown against the floor and walls looked like demons surrounding him. And as I watched, wanting and unable to comfort him, I saw something tiny appear beside him on the sofa. It was a knife. Despite all my untold hours of watching the thing, This is the only time I ever saw it change. The movement of the shifts hurt my brain to the point that I started pulling away after the second one, and not just because of what happened in the scenes. He goes to the son's room first and stabs him in the ear, bearing down on the blade with his weight. Then the daughter. He cuts her throat and belly open. The scene actually shifted twice there to make sure I saw him make both wounds. Then there was the wife. That scene shifted more slowly over the next 12 hours or so. When the final transition came, you couldn't tell she had ever been a person. Just bits of abstract someone, spread across the bed and floor and even the walls. After that, I never looked in the box again. I bought a safety deposit box where it has stayed ever since. You might think I should have destroyed it or thrown it away, but I couldn't quite manage it. Somehow, I think I knew that. Well, even though I was done with it, it wasn't done with me. That became very clear a few weeks ago. I haven't been myself. Terrible dreams and worse thoughts. I don't sleep. I fly off the handle at the smallest thing. Once I realized that I recognized what I was doing, it only made it that much worse. The past few days I've really tried to do better, but I can feel it isn't going to last. I have to do something. My plan had been to write this all down, read back through it, and if it didn't seem totally insane, give it to my wife in the morning. It might not make sense to her, but at least she would know what was on my mind. Except just now, I've seen it next to me. The knife. I've never seen it before. Well, not up close and not for a very long time. I tell myself I have to get rid of it, get it away from me, away from my family. But I can't quite do that either. Maybe it's because it's not really my choice, or because it's what I really want, or maybe it's because of what I just saw, because I did get up just now for a minute and try to throw it away, even if it was just into the yard, so long as it wasn't in sight or arm's reach. I opened the front door and was raring back to throw the knife away when I saw it, hovering among the murky nighttime shadows of the tree line. It was an eye, monstrously gigantic. It looked this way and that, both terrifying and terrifyingly familiar. Because I knew that eye, didn't I? Knew the monster it belonged to well. It was me.